Live from Victory Park, this is News 8 at 10.
5 days ago, the soul of our city was pierced when police officers were ambushed in a cowardly attack.
When the bullets started flying, the men and women of the Dallas police, they did not flinch.
Today, the nation grieves, but those of us who love Dallas and call it home have had 5 deaths in the family.
Good evening, I'm John McKay.
And I'm Cynthia Izaguirre. Thank you for joining us on what has been an historic day for the city of Dallas. 2 presidents and 2 first ladies joining Dallas in mourning 5 fallen officers. Their deaths driving a call for unity.
While we mourn, we also learn more about the evil visited upon our city. Tonight, a new account of the chaos from El Centro College, and 2 college officers are recovering after the ambush of police. News 8's Jobin Paniker live tonight near the college. So Jobin, these officers found themselves dangerously close to that gunman last week.
Very close. You know, the officers never saw the shooter, but they say there was a moment when they knew they were the targets. We are live out here in front of El Centro College. Portions of Main Street are still blocked off. It is here 2 officers have an incredible story to tell. As life returns to downtown, slowly.
Next stop, Packard Station.
We are reminded, and not far away, that life was lost here too. Lamar Street is back open. El Centro College is still off limits. Reminders everywhere. The men sworn to protect it are now talking.
I think he saw both of us.
The corporal and officer at El Centro never saw the shooter. They were inside when they heard the shots at the Lamar Street entrance. They did not know from where or how many people were shooting. They did not know they were the targets.
I knew that we had a shooter, and we had to get to that location.
Several times they would attempt to go outside.
Glass door exploded in front of me.
The shooter, Micah Johnson, would end up inside. A trail of blood in a stairwell led officers to his general location. Corporal Shaw was shot on his left side. It pierced through his vest.
I mean, if God hadn't been watching over me, I wouldn't be here.
Officer Abbott noticed an officer down 20 feet from him. He would pull him out of the line of fire and tried to give him medical help.
When I rolled him over, I realized who it was.
It was his good friend and DART officer Brent Thompson. He's one of the 5 who died that night. The glass, the windows, these are all just reminders, but what officers faced that night, those are memories. Tough ones. We cannot fail to mention those officers also rescued 30 people, 30 students as well as professors on the 7th floor of that El Centro College building. Reporting live here in Dallas, Jobin Paniker, Channel 8 News.
All right, Jobin, thank you. And all of these brothers in blue will be laid to rest this week. The first of 5 funerals happens tomorrow for Senior DPD Corporal Lorne Ahrens. His casket, draped in an American flag, arrived at Prestonwood Baptist this evening for visitation. Ahrens' wife knew the risk he took every day all too well. She is a detective on the force.
They have 2 kids, and Lauren took them fishing and used to proudly go to their school in uniform. And the night before he died, he bought dinner for a homeless man. And the next night, Katrina had to tell their children that their dad was gone.
We now know DART officer Brent Thompson gave his own life trying to save Corporal Ahrens. News 8's Tanya Iser has a first-hand account of the next few hours from a heartbroken fellow officer that can only be described as surreal.
You know, we throw the words brother and sister around sometimes frivolously as police officers. After holding the body of my warrior brother, I understand our family.
That's Dallas Police Sergeant James Bristow. He's reading his post about saying goodbye to a member of the Brotherhood in Blue, Senior Corporal Lorne Ahrens.
I work in the most dangerous city in the most dangerous state for a police officer to be.
It was just before the end of the protest rally Thursday when former Army reservist Micah Johnson launched a devastating ambush-style attack. Ahrens, 3 other Dallas police officers, and a Dart police officer would ultimately die. Bristow spoke to the officer who drove Ahrens to Baylor Hospital.
His group was pinned down when Lauren was hit, and that they were trying their best to get him in the cruiser, in the squad car to get him out of the area, and that the Dart officer came up. And when he came up to help, he drew the sniper's fire. And the Dart officer, he gave his life trying to save Lauren.
Bristow was at home last Thursday with his wife.
Thank you.
Don't cut yourself.
When he saw the attacks unfold on live TV.
She looked at me and said, "Do you need to go?" And I said, "Yeah, I do."
He went to work and later made his way to the hospital. Bristow and other officers prayed over their fallen comrade.
He was so big and so strong. But once you got to know him and you got past the tough guy stuff, he was a marshmallow.
Because of Ahrens' size, Bristow was called upon to move his body.
I reached down and I grabbed the blue blanket and I threw it over and went, "It's not a blanket. This is the body bag. And the zipper's in my hand."
He had to do the unimaginable.
Having to grab that zipper and move the zipper around. And zip a brother up into a bag. That's another one of those they did not train us for.
It's not just a job, it's a calling. And that's the way it was for Ahrens. That's who he was.
Father, thank you so much for today, for taking care of us, for bringing me home again.
That's the way it is for Bristow.
In Jesus' name, amen. I could not imagine myself ever wanting to do anything else than what I do now, or to work with any other group than the men and women in Dallas. They're phenomenal. So, just in case you haven't heard me say it, I love you guys, and I don't want to be around anybody else.
Tanya Iser, Channel 8 News.
Senior Corporal Ahrens will be laid to rest on Wednesday at 11 in the morning at Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano. Burial will follow at Westland.
The President and First Lady are back in Washington tonight. They met privately with families of the fallen after a moving interfaith memorial service at the Meyerson, a packed house with the exception of 5 empty seats, one for each officer's sacrifice. News 8's Jason Whiteley was there.
Helped set the mood as President Obama hoped to set the tone.
Mr. President, we're waiting on you, waiting on your leadership. The world is watching you today, sir. Come on.
In the aftermath of the shooting,
talk to this city, talk to this nation.
We've seen Mayor Rawlings and Chief Brown, a white man and a black man, working together to unify a city with strength and grace and wisdom.
He led leaders and law enforcement from across the country at Dallas's Meyerson Symphony Center, paying respects to the policemen murdered last week. Folded flags sat on 5 seats reserved in their honor.
We cannot match the sacrifices made by officers Zamarripa and Ahrens, Kroll, Smith, and Thompson. But surely we can try to match their sense of service.
Outside, under an American flag and sweltering heat.
Pull out some
A father and son struggled to watch the service on their cell phone.
God bless y'all, man. I love Dallas Police.
As citizens gathered to show it is possible to praise police and protesters.
President George W. Bush.
In a show of solidarity, President George W. Bush attended as well, stressing unity and understanding.
Argument turns too easily into animosity. Too often we judge other groups by their worst examples, while judging ourselves by our best intentions.
In our sufferings, there is glory.
Wise words in a wounded city.
Because we know that suffering produces perseverance.
This is Obama's 12th speech after a mass shooting. It closed, though, with a powerful, nonpartisan moment. But whether this example leads to change remains the challenge. Jason Whiteley, Channel 8 News.
After that memorial, an emotional day continued for Dallas's police chief and mayor. They were both at Mary Immaculate Church this evening for Officer Michael Smith's visitation. His body arrived with a full police escort, flanked by 4 DPD officers. They will guard his casket overnight. Dallas Police Chief David Brown joined mourners and offered a final salute. Services continue tomorrow with a memorial for Dart Officer Brent Thompson. It starts at 10 in the morning at the Potter's House Church in Dallas.
And amid these funerals, the investigation into last week's ambush is moving forward. Today, News 8 obtained a search warrant of the information requested from gunman Micah Johnson's cell phone. We know incoming and outgoing phone calls and text messages were retrieved connected to several phone numbers between the dates of May 1st through July 7th.
And tonight in Fort Worth, honest questions and honest conversation between police and the public. A community forum planned months before the tragedy in Dallas. A forum needed now more than ever. News 8's Lauren Zakalik was there. She joins us now live with much more. Lauren?
Yeah, John, you know, Fort Worth is 30 miles away from Dallas. But what we saw tonight goes to show that people are hurt by what is happening, no matter where they live.
You are very welcome to ask any questions this evening that you would like.
At first, people were hesitant to talk. An open mic doesn't necessarily lead to open hearts.
My name is Susan Carter.
But eventually, the conversation started.
And I think everybody in here is aware of what has gone on in the last 5 days, last couple of weeks.
And that open mic let people address open wounds.
I would like to know some of the things that you've talked about that could alleviate some of what happened in Minneapolis and in Baton Rouge.
When citizens deal with you out in the street, whether it's positively or negatively, they don't remember you. They remember the badge and whether you tarnished it or not.
A forum between Fort Worth police and community members from the city's east side. It was planned months ago, meant to be a local meeting. But local means something bigger. When this happens, 30 miles away.
It's important to be here and to be a part, particularly with what happened in Dallas.
Chief Joel Fitzgerald knew the concerns were coming.
I want to appease some of their fears, I should say, and really make them understand that we're here for them.
23-year-old Antonio Merritt came with his mother, Renee.
This is quite a bit to take in, to be very honest about it.
Renee admits she worries about her sons.
They're responsible citizens. They don't get in trouble, but they still get stopped.
But she believes in the Fort Worth police and believes they are trying. And that's what matters right now.
We have an excellent area. Texas is very unique, and we love Texas, and we want the world to see that we're doing things right.
Lauren Zakalik, Channel 8 News.
Our coverage of Dallas's fallen officers continues next.
Meet the men who traveled more than 1,000 miles to honor our heroes.
Officers from around the country are in Dallas tonight to attend 5 funerals planned over the next 4 days.
Channel 8's Mike Castellucci caught up with one group here all the way from Canton, Ohio.
We both immediately volunteered.
It's simple.
I got the call Tuesday at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think we were on the road by noon.
Police officers Kyle Sloan
Monday, yeah, sorry.
and David Jadich had to drive here.
We both thought it was very important to pay respects to our brothers and their families.
It's simple,
We started some plans to take care of these guys while they're here.
yet extraordinary.
I'm glad that we got picked.
They've been on the road from Canton. Not the Canton an hour away from Dallas, the Canton 16 hours away in Ohio.
Continue on I-30 frontage road for
They're getting directions to a stranger's house on Lake Ray Hubbard.
This is something we just wanted to do for these guys.
Frank Nesgoda has family
I'm waiting any minute for a phone call.
that lives in Ohio. His sister lives in Canton and reached out to Kyle and David. Told them they have a place to stay with them.
Nice to meet you.
Kyle and David will attend all 5 funerals. They couldn't stay away.
Just be two more people in the crowd to show the department and the community, you know, people do care.
I think it's important to show our brothers in blue that we care.
And there's a lot of caring. From strangers opening their homes to pure astonishment like this. Kyle and David pulled into an outer parking lot to rearrange their uniforms. Not 2 minutes later, some admirers they've never met walked up, smiling. The officers say they usually deal with the 1% of humanity that no one wants to deal with, and they do it all shift long every day. They never see this. They're seeing it now. Mike Castellucci, Channel 8 News.
On the way to Dallas in Air Force One, President Obama called the families of 2 African-American men shot and killed last week by police. This is a photo of Philando Castile's mother as she spoke with President Obama about her son's death in Minnesota. The president also called relatives of Alton Sterling, who was killed by police in Baton Rouge.
Governor Greg Abbott's burns will keep him from the Republican National Convention next week in Cleveland. Tonight, Abbott's at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio. He's recovering from skin grafts. A hot water accident gave the governor 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his legs. We wish him well. That is a tough recovery.
Wish him well. Also, one of our longtime weather team volunteers, David Farmer, called me tonight and said his wife Tasha is undergoing chemotherapy, started today.
Okay.
We want to let both of them know, especially Tasha Farmer, that we're thinking of you, keeping you in our thoughts and prayers tonight. Okay, I want to talk about rainfall. We don't have much. Look at this. This is the next 10 days, John and Cynthia. Look at DFW. That's it.
Nada.
So the forecast I'll give you tonight, I'll see you in about 14 days, because we could just put it on repeat, because that's going to kind of be the story for the next 14 days. So I'm going to give you more content than that. And you're going to have to come back each and every night to get this kind of stuff. No rainfall here. Limited stuff up in the Panhandle along the Texas coast. Very limited rainfall over the next 10 days. And right now, we're mainly dry. There's a couple sprinkles hitting the ground between Waco and Austin. That is it. We've had a few showers up in the Panhandle, but most of the state is dry tonight, and we will stay dry as we head through this one. It will be another breezy night tonight. South winds 15 to 20, at times up to 25. A warm, muggy night tonight. At least the breeze will help things out a little bit. Mostly clear, 79 tonight. Now, today we hit 95. Our normal high is 95. Tomorrow, I'm forecasting 98, a hot, humid day, a breezy day once again. Those south winds will help things make it'll be a little bit more tolerable tomorrow, but mostly sunny skies. Maybe a few clouds early tomorrow morning, but then the sun comes out. Another hot day on Thursday. A few pop-up thunderstorms are possible late Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday, mainly up along the Red River. Sunshine at 97. That's the only rain. Over the next 10 days, it's a thunderstorm or 2, mainly along the Red River. The vast majority of North Texas is dry. We stay in the upper 90s as we head through next week. And Dale, as you pointed out earlier, if the humidity levels drop just a tad, just a tad, we may make it to triple digits Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday and Friday. So it won't take much, as you pointed out.
Well, the humidity makes it feel hotter, but it's actually not hotter, because when the humidity goes down, the actual temperature goes up.
See,
I don't know if that's true or not.
No, it's true. He looked at it, he Googled it and told me, and I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing.
I thought I was right about that. Hey, Fox is promoting all their network shows next season, so we can't talk baseball yet. But Harrison Barnes is talking about his new role with the Mavericks, and we'll get to that next. Baseball's a much better game to watch when the pitchers throw strikes, and all-star pitchers usually do. The 87th All-Star game in San Diego tonight, but it's taking a while. The American League is 2 runs up. They're in the top of the 9th inning. If they win, then the World Series would start in Arlington this year. Hey, the Rangers will be in Chicago Friday to play the Cubs. A weekend series there and all-day games. Martin Perez will start Friday's game, and maybe Yu Darvish will pitch Saturday. Rangers certainly hope so anyway. The Mavericks' new forward Harrison Barnes is talking about his new team and the new role he's expected to play now. He was a small part of that Golden State team that didn't need him to score much. The Mavericks do.
I've been lucky, in my first 4 years, to be able to, win a championship and to be able to be coached by Coach Kerr, and now I get a chance to be coached by another coach who's also won a championship. So I'm really looking forward to that, as well as, learning, from great players here. Be able to play with a guy like Dirk Nowitzki, a guy who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt, and reach 30,000 points, and to be able to play with all the other great players here should be a good opportunity for me.
Jordan Spieth is talking in Scotland about his decision to skip the Olympics this year. Says he wants to play in the Olympic Games someday, just not in Rio. Here's Joe Trahan.
To get the playoff inches. That's how close Dallas native Jordan Spieth came to a playoff at last year's British Open and a shot at golf history. But before he could talk Troon today, Spieth covered his controversial decision to skip this year's Olympic Games.
This was probably the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life.
Spieth says he agonized over it, but ultimately joined the other top-flight golfers, citing health reasons to opt out of the Rio Games. The Zika virus outbreak, he said, is just a component and not his only health concern.
I just had to try and weigh risks that doesn't present itself every year. I just felt this was the right move for me.
As for his golf game, the world's third-ranked player admits he's not as confident as he was last summer at St. Andrews, saying his swing still needs work.
I'm working a lot on how to gunsling it, which is what I did last year. Just step up, hit it, go to my natural movement.
Spieth will be vying this week to keep a couple of notable streaks intact. The last 6 British Opens played at Royal Troon have all been won by Americans. Spieth also gunning to become the 3rd straight North Texan to raise the claret jug at Troon. Dallas native Justin Leonard brought home the trophy in 1997.
And he's done it.
Westlake's Todd Hamilton crowned Champion Golfer of the Year in 2004. Spieth knows the history well and wants nothing more than to become a part of it.
I crave to have that trophy in my possession at some point, and to reach the 3rd leg of the Grand Slam this week would be a fantastic achievement and a lifelong goal of mine.
We'll see if he can sling it when he tees off Thursday at 3:03 in the morning, Dallas time. Beautiful. Joe Trahan, Channel 8 Sports.
The American League is still hanging on. And again, very, very big deal, because home field advantage in the World Series is at stake here. I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat.
This may be as big a deal as Dale Hansen on Esquire.
Wow, it's not that big. It's not that big.
You got to read it. It's a good one. We'll be right back.
Getting easier to navigate downtown Dallas now that Elm, Market, Lamar Streets are back open, as well as the West End Dart Station. But remember, before you drive in tomorrow, sections of Main and Austin, well, they are still closed. And both El Centro College and the Texas Club parking garage, they are closed indefinitely.
Today's memorial is especially hard for the officers' families. 12 children left fatherless, including the 2-year-old daughter of Officer Patrick Zamarripa, who is too young to understand what happened to her dad. The daughter of fallen Sergeant Michael Smith is old enough to know her dad is gone. And in this tender moment, she comforts Zamarripa's young daughter, giving her a bracelet she made during a memorial on Monday. 2 children connected by this tragedy. Very tragic, but very beautiful at the same time, John.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight for News 8 at 10 o'clock.
And tonight, we leave you with a powerful performance from today's memorial service. Here's Dallas gospel singer Gay Arbuckle.